All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to be digging into an online source called Ritu's Diary, and it tackles a really big question. What do men actually look for in a life partner? Beyond all the surface level stuff. Let's break it down.
So the whole thing really boils down to this one central question, right? When you're searching for that ideal person, what are the things that really, truly count in the long run? First things first, the source makes it super clear that everyone's different. It's all about personal preference, right? Some guys might be looking for someone who's really bold and talkative, a real social butterfly. Others, they might be drawn to someone who's a bit more shy and quiet. And hey, there's absolutely no right or wrong answer there. Okay, but this is where things start to get really interesting. The source claims that, yeah, preferences matter, but the real search for a partner, that goes way, way deeper. And this is pretty much the core idea of the whole thing. While your personal type is totally valid, there are some qualities that are just fundamental. They're like the bedrock of any solid long-term relationship. These are the real non-negotiables, and that's exactly what we're going to get into. So what's the first big one? What's that absolute must-have? Well, the source is crystal clear on this. It all begins with a foundation. And that foundation is respect. In fact, the source goes as far as to say that if you had to strip everything else away and pick just one thing, there's a single quality that rises above everything else. It's the absolute essential. And here it is, a direct quote from the source. Respect is the foundation of a relationship. Think about that. It's not just some nice little bonus. It's framed as the absolute bedrock. The argument is that without it, the whole thing just falls apart. There's nowhere for it to go. Okay, so if respect is the foundation we're building on, what about the pillars that hold the structure up? Well, that's where we get into character and understanding. The source makes this really powerful comparison between two ideas. On one hand, you have Surat, that's all about external looks, physical appearance. But on the other hand, you have Sirat, which is all about a person's inner beauty, their character. And the point it makes is pretty profound, right? Looks can fade, but a person's inner character, that's what's built to last. So what exactly does this inner beauty look like? The source points to three key things. First, having an understanding nature. Second, a genuinely caring attitude. And third, just having a good character at your core. The idea is that these are the real ingredients for a peaceful, happy life with someone. But a good relationship isn't just about all the good stuff you have. It's also about the negative stuff you don't have. So let's flip the coin and look at some of the major challenges and deal breakers the source talks about. The source gets really specific about habits that can just wreck a relationship. Things like, throwing tantrums for no reason or constantly arguing over every single tiny thing. And this next one's a big one. Ego. That and always comparing yourselves or the relationship to others. These are pretty much framed as relationship killers. All right, so moving on from character, the source gets into something super practical, something we all deal with, money, specifically how a partner views it. Now, let's be clear, this isn't about finding someone who's rich, not at all. The focus is on financial responsibility. It's not about how much money they have in the bank, it's about how smart they are with the money they do have. And to really paint a picture, the source gives this great example. Picture this. You go shopping because you genuinely need 2 new dresses. Okay, simple enough. But you walk out of the store with 10. That gap between what you needed and what you bought, the source points to that as wasteful spending, a habit that really doesn't go over well in a partnership. All right, we've looked at the foundation, the pillars, the deal breakers. So what does the whole thing look like when you put it all together? Let's zoom out and see the complete picture. So, if you were to sketch out a blueprint for the ideal partner based on this source, it would look something like this. Someone who is fundamentally respectful. Someone with a good heart and solid character. They're understanding, they're caring. They steer clear of all that ego and pointless arguing. And they know how to be smart with money. But let's be real for a second. This isn't supposed to be some rigid checklist where you tick off boxes. Nobody's perfect, right? It's really meant to be more of a guide. A compass pointing towards the kinds of qualities that really build a strong, lasting connection. And all of this kind of brings us to one final thought, a question I want to leave with you. We've gone through what this one source says, but what about you? In your own life, based on your own experiences, what do you think is the single most important thing in a relationship?